No news is good news. No news is good news. That's exactly what my grandma used to say all the time, like a parrot. No news is good news. She was so irritating, positively irritating, that I felt like punching her in her nose all the time. But then she's my mom's grandma. I cannot do it for anything and everything. Let's say we were watching cricket. This is the early 80s. Let me give a quick second because I know you all are trying to calculate how old I am, trying to do mental math. And I know the Asians here have already know what the answer is, but everybody else I need to give time. Don't you agree, Kevin? So this is the early 80s, and we used to watch on TV or listen on the radio cricket scores and cricket matches. And we are a big sports family. And very often in India, growing up in India, we used to lose power. And then we were all just really worried. My grandma would come out, this old witch, she would just come out of the room and say, no news is good news. No news is good news. I'm here, nervous Nelly, thinking, oh my goodness, what is the score? Or if my dad, for example, said, oh, where is Mr. Dixit? That's a real name. I know it's funny, you're laughing, but Dixit is a real name. It's a Hindu name, and you'll go to hell if you laugh. You got it? So let's say my dad says, where's Mr. Dixit? My grandma, no news is good news. No news is good news. And naturally, I was about 6 or 7 years old at the time. I was like a parrot. I would just play second fiddle to everything my grandma would say. I one day came back home from school, and my mom said, did you get your grades? Did you get your progress report? I said, no news is good news. She gave me one tight pop. This is India, you see, back in the day. And then my grandma, she used to spend time with us, my dad, our family, and then she would also split time with her sibling who was very far away. And one fine day, many moons ago, what happened was we received an inland letter or a postcard saying, and I vividly remember this date, this was February 2nd, 1983, and it said, Grandma passed, start immediately. And I'm wondering now, and even then I wondered why my uncle did not send us a telegram. We had telegram. We didn't have a phone at home. Nobody had a phone in those days in India. But he didn't send us a telegram. He just sent us a postcard. Perhaps he figured out these guys anyway are poor. These guys don't have money to start immediately. Even if we wanted to start immediately, we would just take a bus or a train and take days to get there. So he just sent us the postcard and said, Grandma passed, so start. But then we were thinking, should we go or not go? And in my parents' family, everybody is Hindu, so they have these rituals going on for 12, 15 days. And what happens, and you have to understand, this is 1980s, and what happens in those rituals is the entire family, especially the close members of the family, they'll meet after somebody has passed, and they'll sit around the dead body and then chop the dead body into small. I'm just kidding, it's a joke. I saw Lola's face and Thomas's face. What? We are not barbaric. Come on. Just because 1980s India, we are not snake charmers and barbaric people. Come on. So we decided to, in any case, go. And I sat by the window of the train and wondered if no news was really good news. Because here we are, my grandma, we didn't have any news from her. We didn't have phones or anything. We wouldn't do FaceTimes and talk to them on a daily basis. She would go off to my uncle's place and we'll just see her the next time when she's here. Or if there is a postcard or an email letter that come in. And there was no news for months. And the next news we heard is she's dead. So I wondered, sitting by the window of the train as we were taking the ride, is it really good news? No news is good news. Now, fast forward to, and she passed a couple of days before that. She passed on Jan 31st, and we got the postcard on the 2nd. Fast forward to 2020, COVID time, but not really because of COVID. My wife's dad, who was much older, he passed. And at that time, as you all know, we have a daughter who is now 8 years old. At the time, she was 4. And my mom's dad, my wife's dad, he passed. And my wife and I were wondering, should we really tell our child that he passed? Then, just like any of the immigrant families who have parents far away, we talk to them almost every day, but over the weekends we do these FaceTimes and video calls and everything. And that's when our daughter, she'll just pop in and say hello. And about a month after, this is almost every week, about a month after he passed, so my wife and I did not tell our daughter he passed, because we thought it was an abstract thought: death, love, religion. According to us, these are all abstract thoughts. We are a little weird. I'll tell you about it later. But we thought it was abstract thoughts, so we didn't tell her. After about a month after he passed, she comes up to me one day and she says, "Daddy, where is mom's dad? I don't see him on the video anymore." So I thought about it for a minute, and if you know anything about me by this time, I'm very spontaneous. I'm quick on my feet. I'm always there with answers. Although my wife says I have a problem because I think she's somebody who works in IT in the morning, and by night she's a psychiatrist. She'll exactly tell you what's the problem with me. So my daughter was also learning about world maps at this time. So we were showing her where all the countries are, everything. And she comes up to me and she says, "Daddy, I don't see mom's dad." I said, "He went for a walk." So she didn't care. A month later, again, she comes up to me and she says, "Daddy, it's been more than a month or whatever, and I haven't seen mom's dad. What's going on?" I said, "Yeah, he went for a walk." She said, "But where did he go? He went for a walk the last time. Where did he go?" I said, "Yeah, he went to Siberia, the Siberia region." Then she comes back after about 3 minutes, goes up to the map, and she looks at it and says, "Daddy, Siberia is too far from India. How do you think he would walk all the way to Siberia?" I said, "Forget it." Now, that ship has sailed. And then my mom and dad have a wonderful dog, or had a great dog. And my daughter, she loved this dog all the time. She would talk to the dog every time. Every time we went to India, she would play with the dog. Lovely dog. Unfortunately, the dog passed one day. My daughter, she caught on to it immediately. She said, "Daddy, what happened to Mira, the dog? Where is she gone?" So I said, "Oh, she went for a walk." And she said, "Okay, what do you mean she went for a walk? Grandma and grandpa are right there. How can the dog go for a walk by herself?" So I said, "Okay, listen, sweetie. You remember mom's dad?" She said, "Yeah." "What happened?" "Mom's dad, he went to Siberia, but he came back all the way from Siberia to take this dog back for a walk." So no news is good news. I wondered, sitting by the window on the train at the time. What I didn't tell you is the day before, on February 1st, was my 7th birthday. And we had a fabulous celebration, had all the friends come over. That was the first time my mom and dad, poor people in India, they bought me a jacket, and I showed off to everybody, including my neighbor Rosie, my girlfriend at the time. And I know my dad was crying and he was unhappy, but it's just a perspective. For me, it was great news that we didn't receive the telegram on the 31st. Had we got it on the 31st, I wouldn't have been able to celebrate my 7th birthday on the 1st. So that's all, folks. Thanks so much. That's my time.